Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the HighLevel Experience Podcast. Our guest today is a true embodiment of resilience and entrepreneurial spirit. At just 28 years old, he has navigated a roller coaster of business highs and lows, from scaling ventures to million-dollar months to facing challenges of starting over. His journey has not only shaped him into a seasoned entrepreneur, but also earned his businesses prestigious recognitions, including a spot on the 2024 Inc. 5000 list. And more importantly, more relevant to all of you guys listening, high levelers, has scored recently a Diamond Award, which is not an easy feat. I believe that is when you hit about 1,000 sub-accounts from memory, but we'll clarify that with our guest. The story featured in major publications like Inc., Yahoo Finance, and Influensive. He brings wealth of experience and unique perspective on overcoming adversity and achieving success. And more importantly, also providing you, as a way of being interviewed on this show, an inspirational story for the rest of you guys starting at high level of what is possible. Please welcome to the show, Jake Setterlun.
Thank you so much for having me. Exciting to be here.
Absolutely, Jake. Really, really cool to have you. Mate, I when I was putting together the intro, I looked at your stuff, and I must say I'm very impressed. Can you tell us, like, how did you get to where you're now? Like, this is pretty. I mean, if you guys are not watching this, if you're listening, you won't see this, but Jake's got all these really cool plugs, all the ClickFunnels award that you could think of, all the high level awards that you could think of. This is, we're not bullshitting here. This is the real deal.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for about 10 years now, using HighLevel for, I want to say four-ish since the start. But yeah, been doing this whole marketing thing for a long, long time. Started out in school for engineering. I was like, hey, this ain't for me anymore. Tried to start a prototyping business. That failed. Got into marketing. Started a few agencies. Those failed. And finally really just kind of hit the, I don't want to say hit the lottery, but found a really good partner, worked out a good offer, and it's kind of been up since then. So lots of failures, lots of successes, but it's been a ride.
Awesome, mate. We've got 90 minutes. We got to unpack it a little bit.
I love it.
Can you go into, well, I mean, so you've hit it, like you say, quote unquote jackpot. You've partnered up with somebody that's been an important to the growth. Can you break it down? What's the story?
Sure. Yeah. So I call it hitting the lottery, but I guess you could also say, you fail so many times, eventually you have a little bit of success. But I'm a systems guy. I'm a back end guy, automations, love go high level. And, for me, it was always, I don't want to learn how to do sales. I don't want to learn how to talk to people, sell, do all that kind of stuff. I want to do the back end. I want to fulfill, do marketing. So when I got started, I had always looked for a partner. So in my first business, marketing business, doing social media, photography, posting, that kind of stuff, I had partnered with an individual from high school that was supposed to be the guy that can talk to people and sell, and just ended up not working. Moved on to another individual doing lead generation advertising for contractors, partnered with an individual that was supposed to be able to sell. That didn't work. And then eventually I found another individual in a Facebook group, like I feel like a lot of us, can relate to. And he ended up, kind of being the one that actually could sell. We got into the real estate space doing marketing, lead gen, and systems for real estate agents. And that was, again, hitting the lottery. But, we ended up working together. He was able to sell. I was doing the fulfillment. And over time, crafted a really good offer, a really good product, and really was able to scale, from day one with that individual.
That's awesome, man. This is good. Like, when you say that you love systems and basically you're like me, like you like to tinker with stuff. You like to be the backing guy, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I go crazy what I do, right? So what I'm trying to say is there are others in the community who are also that way, but they're not doing well. Yep. And that's purely because of that, right? In order to grow, like, you got to start doing sales, you got to talk to people, right? Like, it's not going to happen if you just tinker it with stuff, right? So what you're saying is that it is possible to still be very, very successful without having to change what you like to do. All you got to do is just find somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And surprisingly enough, I mean, unfortunately, you have to go through people, right? Like, you're not just going to find the one that it works out, but there are those individuals out there and they're really good at their job. The issue is they don't know a lot about the back end stuff. So that's where you can come in and say, hey, I know everything. Like you said, I got started. I was in school for engineering, so I always liked inventing. Obviously, that transitions over to building out automations, workflows, all that kind of stuff. So when you're really good at that and you find somebody that's, really good at sales, it almost like you're drawn together, if that makes sense. But yeah, you do have to, you don't have to sell, but you do have to network. You do have to kind of put yourself out there in those groups to be able to find those people.
Yeah, networking is very, very powerful though. It is a high touch sometimes. I've just recently joined with BNI, and yesterday I've been put together a free digital business card, right? So after I do one-on-ones, because that's what you need to do, because you need to deepen those relationships. You got maybe 30 people that are there that you're going to see every single week. They're the same people, and it's all about getting to build a trust, getting to like, know and trust you, and, things will come. So my idea was like, I structured it like a whole funnel, like I'm going to have a one-on-one. Okay, great. So 1 hour, buy them a coffee, and then I want to surprise them with something, because I'm all about, pitching what I do, which is SaaS, right? I help businesses capture, nurture, close more leads with smart automations and AI. That's what we all
Love it.
tend to say, right? But how do people like understand it? It's not that easy to get it right away, especially if when we know how many awesome things we can do, all these features, right?
Absolutely.
There's only that much time. 45 seconds doesn't cut it, that's for sure. So you definitely have to have that one-on-one. So I was like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a campaign workflow after one-on-one that basically educates them as my now a referral partner, make sure they understand what I do, but do it in a way that they're really bought in, that there is that little like excitement, like something that is super memorable, something they wouldn't expect. So I basically unpack things I'm going to give them after every single. So you got the first introduction meeting, and then you have follow-ups, right? You should be meeting regularly with the same person. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a free digital business card. And then the next thing, I'm going to give them something else, the next. So now they're experiencing the power of what I'm doing. It's going to be a lot easier for them to remember what I do, and then basically that. But that's
absolutely
a bit of a segue. Back to you, mate. Can we talk about the business of what's been working for you so far? Like, how do you guys do what you do? Who's your like customers now at your agency? I've looked at your website. I believe you're also now helping other agencies, but you're still helping businesses. Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've transitioned at the point where we currently have 5 agencies that we run kind of on the back end that we're not super forward with. And every single one of those, except for one of them that has more of an SEO type product, all the other ones are a done with you type of system. So we started off like a lot of individuals in the done for you world. So you're doing everything for the client. You're running their ads, you're setting up their systems, you're booking them appointments. You might even have setters in there booking the leads to appointments, and you're managing everything. And we really saw that most people don't want to pay what you need to charge for a done for you service. And with HighLevel rolling out, so many unique features and everything like that, we were able to transition into a done with you type of a system where it's, hey, we're going to set this account up for you. We'll set up your ads. After that, you're on your own. If you need help, let us know. And that's allowed us to really scale and bring a unique product, I think, to a lot of individuals at a super affordable cost. Obviously, not everybody thinks that, but a few $1,000s just to set something up is pretty affordable for most businesses than a few $1,000s a month. So that's something that we've been able to take into the real estate market, insurance, home services, health and wellness businesses. And that's really kind of the key to, how we've been able to scale. But, feedback from our clients' perspective, they appreciate it too, because it is something that, they're able to have systems that would normally cost them thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
for a couple $1,000 setup, and then, a couple $100 a month just for the management aspect and the SaaS platform and things like that.
So let me guess, the way you're making it scalable is educational based sort of a model through one to many webinars, workshops. You probably have a community. So you're educating your customers to be able to leverage the system.
So to be quite honest with you, no, we actually do all of our client acquisitions through paid ads, and on the back end, it's a one-on-one relationship with the client.
Ah, okay,
So
still.
we have a salesperson that takes an appointment, they sign them up, and then they book a one-on-one onboarding with our team. Our team says, okay, you need X, Y, and Z. Our team sets that up for them, and then it really is more of it's a done for you type of one-on-one with the client. So yeah, so there really is no educational piece to it. Obviously, we have education. We show them, hey, if you want to do this, this, and that, here's how you do it. But a lot of it is definitely like our team setting everything up for the client on more of a one-on-one basis.
So can we clarify that? So you say
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's you shift it more to done with you than done for you because that wasn't working that well because it's not affordable. The economics are just not there. So you
Yep.
switch to the done with you, but you're saying you still do work for them.
Sure. So think about like this. You have the done for you model, where you go through the setup process of setting up their ads, setting up GHL, getting everything approved. Boom, turn your ads on. You have your workflows that are turning leads into appointments in HighLevel. We're basically doing all of the setup for them, and then we're kind of giving them a little pat on the butt and saying like, there you go, like you have your system, do with it as you must. And if you need to change ads or if you need help with any of that kind of stuff, let us know. We can give input, but it's really giving them that system and then letting them go. And really the biggest thing, you might think like, oh, you're doing all the work. Why wouldn't you do more of a done for you model? The thing is, we've been able to sign up so many more people because most people can't afford, $2,000, $3,000 a month, but they can afford that up front. So that's kind of like that uniqueness that we've found, where we like to call it selling hamburgers versus selling steaks.
Yeah.
When you're selling, a higher end done for you product, it is, you get them down, you sit them down, you give them a steak, you like full service. And for us, it's here's your hamburger, you know, you get going, do with it as you must. And it's allowed us to sign up a larger amount of people. It's just a little different of a model. That's really it.
I get it now. Productized
Yeah.
fulfillment. Yeah. Guys, two episodes back where me and Mike Cooch dove into that. So I think episode 42, check it out. This is what we're talking about here. Me and Jake right now. This is what we're talking about here. This is how you make it scalable. You productize fulfillment when you have a constraint boundaries on what that fulfillment, what that scope of it is. You can have a set figure. You can predict your costs, and it's easier to sell. This is exactly why I built my profit roadmap systems. So I'm all with you, man, on this. The way we do it
Absolutely. Love
is
it.
we've got SaaS as well, so regular subscription. Still
Yep.
have three plans, right? Depending on the size of the business. But that's your sticky thing, that's your MRR. But then whenever the business wants to, um, install one of our systems, let's put it that way,
Yep.
because we got them modular, like 10 different modules for different aspects. We got referral marketing module, we got ads optimizing module and things like that. They pay one-time fee, right?
Yep.
So we don't have just one, we got 10 of them, but they don't have to pay them. They don't, it's like
Gotcha.
a shop. It's like hey, we've got these things, but even without those things, you've got a subscription with us and we're going to educate you. We've got webinars, we've got workshops, we've got community.
Love it.
And it's about, you being a responsible business owner and not being a hobbyist. So we like to shift the focus on them. And because like, did it happen to you? Like when you were doing like done for them services, like it's like the responsibility is not there. They put all the shit at you for the results, and they
Absolutely.
take no action. And I don't like that. That's not a
Absolutely.
good. That's not a fair, equal scale type of relationship.
Yep. You've probably heard it too, where for somebody to actually have success and stick, they need to be responsible and like actually implement and adapt what you're giving them. And with the done for you clients, they just are like, they don't even log in. They'll just take the appointments and there'll be 15 open chats in their HighLevel and they haven't responded to them. Like they
Yeah.
just not ideal. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you look at it, you almost feel like, you know what, like I wish I could just take your business away and just run it myself, because I know I would, I would do so much better than you.
I mean, hey, you're not wrong about that.
You know, what I've been thinking is just like on a side note, you know, Alex Hormozy, right? He's got his acquisition.com.
For sure.
I mean, have you ever thought about it, like as a business model? You know, like going to businesses and like, because we've got everything at our disposal, right? Like we know how to
Absolutely.
help businesses. The problem is they don't always implement, they don't always get it as fast and whatnot. As a model, you know, as a business model, like, hey, pay us nothing, or well, I'd have to be some structure to it, but you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like have a
Totally. Yeah, that's honestly something we've transitioned into that a little bit, you know, in the digital space with agencies. You know, we're kind of going through our first couple right now where it's definitely a weird dichotomy where it's like, you know, are we there to actually do the work? Or are we there to just tell them, you know, hey, this is what you do type of thing? But it absolutely, that's 100% valid. And that, you know, kind of going back to if you're more of a introvert, systems tinkering type of individual, honestly, that's a really solid play, because then it's like, hey, you're not trying to sell them on any upfront money. It's literally like, I'm going to do all of this for you. And then when you see the end result, you're going to give me X amount of your business or whatever. So yeah,
yeah.
that there's a lot of value, I think, in doing more of a partnership, joint venture type of play.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I just lost train of thought. I had a really good follow-up question
So,
for you.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remembered. Can we talk about numbers? Yeah, people like to
sure,
hear the
sure,
numbers.
for
Where
sure.
are we sitting right now? So is it platinum, diamond, right? Diamond
Diamond,
award.
yep.
Is that 1,000? Did I get it right at the intro?
Yeah, it's 1,000. We have
So 1,000 sub accounts, guys. Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's what the award is for. We currently, I checked the other day. We just cracked 9,000 sub accounts. Now, obviously, not all of those are paying and active, but we have about like 6,000 active users in our sub account, or in our GHL account. Excuse me, 6,000 active sub accounts. So,
And
um,
paying. And then
paying, yeah,
and
and
then
that's
three, yeah,
obviously,
whatever. Yeah.
you know, it's very minimal because we collect most of our money on the upfront, so it's not, you know, more than anywhere from $47 to $157 a month. But you know, that obviously, you know, that's a piece of our business as far as, you know, numbers go, and then we definitely make a substantial amount of our money from the upfront fees as well that we're charging for the setups.
Well, so what does that look like? And I think you already are pretty transparent about it. You got it on your
Yeah,
videos anyway, so I think you
sure.
can share, right?
Yeah,
What are we talking about? Like, what's been the biggest month? What is your regular month like?
sure. So our regular month is anywhere from, again, it varies with those setups, but anywhere from 500 to $800,000 a month. Biggest that we've gotten to, this was a couple of years ago. We cracked 1 million a month. We can get into that because we cracked it. Things basically nosedived after we hit that,
Yeah.
and had some issues with our fulfillment and support, and rebuilt up since then. But yeah, right now, again, you know, varies, usually 600 to 700,000 a month.
So that is very impressive. What is important to say though is, what does the profit look like, right? Because sometimes you hear these coaches
Of,
and like they're
of course,
bragging, and
of
then
course.
it's like
Sure.
they
It's cool to say like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're doing X amount of money, and it's like, yeah, but you know, when you're running a 20% margin, 15% margin, you know, it's just any other business at that point. So it's,
yeah.
yeah, we ride anywhere from, you know, and again, it varies with ad spend and everything. Anywhere on the low end, super low end would be 10%. On the high end, if again, we had 1 month just a few months ago where it was the election, so we're like, hey, we're just going to cut ads You know, it's like this, it's not even worth it. And we ran a 25% margin that month because
Nice.
of just all the reoccurring and everything. But
Hmm.
yeah, so you know, it's up and down, but it's not a 50% margin. Yeah, I'm not pocketing that much money. I absolutely wish I would have probably sold it, retired, and I'd be on an island right now if that was the case.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like it's, you know, it's it's a job.
Yeah, but look, I mean, let's face it. That also means, you're giving, you're providing an income for a bunch of people that are working for you,
Absolutely.
right? Because we talk
Yeah.
about, and accounting for your salaries, you're probably paying yourself a salary, and the profit
Yeah.
margin, we're really talking about a cream on top, guys. So even
Yeah.
though if it's 20% out of a half a mil, that is solid number.
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yeah, it's cool. I think that is, you touched on that with like providing, you know, an income for, you know, team members and everything. We've had some team members that have been with us. It's crazy to think because I'm 28. Like I'm not supposed to own a business. Like I'm just not. But there's team members that have families, have had kids, and they've been with us for 5, 6 years. And it's just kind of crazy to think like you're supporting somebody else's life with
Hmm.
this business. It's such a weird situation to be in, but it's cool. You know, it
Rewarding,
really is.
right? Rewarding. Feels
Yes,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah. And when you have somebody with there along from the beginning to join you for the ride, it's like a family now. Like it's they know it's been at the beginning, and so I like that, and it's cool. Um,
Absolutely.
what is next for you? Do you have any like a big plans going forward, or just keep going with what you got?
Yeah. So we've really started to transition. You know, we're looking at we've tinkered with the thought of, you know, exact opposite of, you know, having a family. We've tinkered with the idea of exiting and what that would look like. It's not something that's like just there, but you know, we've had some of those conversations. I still like to stay in my back room, door closed, just doing my work and let my other partner kind of deal with that. He's again more the upfront guy, but yeah, other than that, it's really just kind of keep everything going. And we've again, I mentioned it a little bit before, looking at doing more of like JV partnerships where it's like, hey, come plug into this animal that we've created. If you need back end support, if you need ads, if you need anything, you know, you can kind of plug into our system. We'll do your onboardings, we'll do your fulfillment. So again, you know, we have two individuals, two businesses that, you know, we're kind of looking at seeing how it plays out, because it's such a weird thing when you're doing a partnership, but then you're giving them resources. It's so that's been something that we're working on, and then really just, you know, going into more of the personal branding and helping. And we're super anti course, anti $10,000 coaching program, but we
Huh.
are looking at putting together some kind of school community where it's like, hey, this is, you know, all of our strategies, all of our frameworks, and really just trying to help those individuals that are starting out learn from our mistakes.
Hmm. Now, on the agency side, so helping agencies, can we talk about that? So, obviously, helping businesses of your age, of your four agencies, you said,
Yep.
that's given, that's pretty straightforward. I think we'll
Yep.
get how that model works. But the agency side, so what are we doing there? And
Yeah,
you already touched on a few things, but
absolutely. And that's just to clarify, that's working with other agency owners, right? Or people trying to have an agency.
hmm yeah,
Yep.
high
So
level. I think high level is yeah.
yeah, so yeah, absolutely. I love it. That's perfect. Yeah. So that again, that's really been anywhere from like on a super low level, that school community, coaching, information, you know, learning from our mistakes and just putting out different pieces of content, frameworks, templates. Again, we're not really there yet. The bigger thing that we've been doing and implementing and helping with has been more of, you know, we'll just call it what it is, joint ventures, where we're coming in and we're looking for individuals that have really solid products. Again, this isn't, you know, everybody that if you're like, hey, I sell Go High Level, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people that have very unique offerings, good fulfillment, actually have a good product, and partnering with them and basically becoming a scaling partner for that individual where like, hey, you know, we can plug in salespeople, we can plug in fulfillment, we'll do your onboardings. help us build out what that fulfillment looks like, for each of those clients. We'll get you, people on the calendar. And then, we're able to scale together with that person that we're partnering with, really being like that operator. And we're there as more of a consulting figure with also giving them resources. So again, we're going through it right now. It's been super interesting, but I see a lot of people, again, doing more of the first part, which is like the coaching, consulting piece, which I think is awesome. But I also think that there's a piece that we're able to capitalize on a little bit, which is more of those joint ventures and more one-on-one partnerships with those individuals.
Yeah, so it is really that sort of an acquisition, like Hormozy style, a little bit.
Love
Model,
Hormozy.
yeah.
I mean, did we take inspiration from that? Yeah, I'd be lying if I said no. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I like it. I like it. It's something that I've been thinking about doing led down a track with what I do as well, because I've got the profit roadmap modules, the system that I do license out to agencies, and that's been great as a
Love
way
that.
of
Yeah.
selling a product and helping them set it up and benefit from it. But yeah, I mean, there's always room for doing it what you said,
Yeah.
going out, because what we're talking about, if you want to have a JV kind of a business model, it's about like providing value to that partner, and you need resources, right? Things that have been
Absolutely.
battle tested. There's a couple of
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, go for it. No, you're good.
Oh, you wanted to add something, so before we move to the next thing.
No, I was just gonna say for people like us, I feel like it makes like a lot of sense. Like we're high level veterans, know the business. That I think partnerships are kind of inevitable. But yeah, go for it.
No, when you booked this interview with me, there was a couple of things that you wanted to talk about. So I want to make sure we stay on point and like dive into those. One of them was starting a marketing company, which is, I think we've kind of covered that. But talking about scaling it, talking about creating the right offer, and doing the paid ads at scale. Can we dive into that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting out, we did touch on the done with you offer and, transitioning from done for you to done with you. But really from an offer perspective, that's definitely something we go through when we're talking with people and even just having like different little consultations and consulting calls with people. I think there's a lot of people out there selling the same thing. And I really like it when I see, and because it's something that we've done, when somebody takes something that is super normal, what everybody else is selling, put a spin on
Commodity.
it, and then sell it as something different. It's kind of like, I call it creating a purple ocean. Everybody says, find your blue ocean offer. But if you can find a really good offer in a red ocean, like a really competitive market, but it's something unique that people haven't done yet, that's how you can make, a lot of impact, a lot of money, and have a lot of success. So yeah, it's something that it's impacted us, and I feel like it's one of the big reasons why we've had success.
And that offer you mentioned it is the kind of a done with you, but can we go in a bit more detail? Like, how do you pitch this offer, the nuances of it,
Sure. Yeah. So as an example, this is super relevant to what we've done with our agencies recently. We went back into real estate. We took some time off of that industry, just because of some of the downfall that we had with our business, but then also the market just wasn't where it needed to be, unfortunately. But we've gotten back into it, and obviously, real estate agents are pounded with marketing agencies constantly, every day, all day, and they get it. Like they've done the Facebook ads, they've done Google, they've done YouTube. They've done ISAs, like they've done everything. But we came in and we were like, hey, we'll get you qualified booked appointments with voice AI. Again, it's something like that. Obviously, they want booked appointments, like that, no brainer. But we're not saying, hey, we're going to get you qualified booked appointments with Facebook ads and an ISA, because everybody's done that. But by taking something that they obviously want, which is qualified appointments, tagging on something kind of unique, something new, something like, oh, that's a twist, that's different, which is voice AI. It allowed us to have, a lot of success in that industry again, even with it being, not as crazy of a real estate market here as it used to be. So that when I look at something like that, that's what I talk about when it's like having a winning offer.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day in real estate too, when we got started, it was booked appointment, or excuse me, first off, it was leads. We're going to get you 100 leads every month. Then it was, we're going to get you booked appointments. Then it was, we're going to get you booked appointments with no monthly fees, and allowing to say like no monthly fees, which is, hey, we're going to set this up for you. And then, you just kind of take the system as it is. They're still getting booked appointments. There's no recurring ISA fee. There's no management fee. And again, that allowed us to have success. So when I say a winning offer, it's, the framework of how we sold it, how we fulfilled it was what helped us in the beginning, but tweaking and adding the voice AI recently, that's allowed us to stand out and have success. So that's something that I like, and I love seeing when somebody has something that is just a normal service. Again, it's like you have Go High Level, but they're putting their own spin on it. They're putting a uniqueness to it. And then, that's allowing them to stand out and really have, win and have success.
Yeah. Voice AI for real estate agents. Man, what a great topic. So I had a sit down just before Christmas with a real estate agent. I met him at the networking event. Actually, I met somebody that knew him, was a friend of his. And I was talking to them. Oh, yeah, that's right. She was an assistant to a CEO of a local business chamber. And she was talking to me about the membership to become member and whatnot. So I became member. But then she asked me what I do. And I said, this and that.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, one of the big things that we're now doing also is employee AI. I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, I've got a friend, he's a real estate agent. He was looking for that. So anyway, I sit down with him. And then he's more of a junior real estate agent. He's still starting out. So he was working under the wing of more of a senior real estate sales agent. And so they both came to the coffee shop that we met, and they pretty much pitched themselves to me for voice AI. Like is it like, mate, like we've got, and they're like they're working for like a part of a nationwide chain, so they're not like a private. So they have some limitations. They they don't have a say of how the CRM works. It's corporate, but they do have a list to work. They've got their list to work. And he says, mate, we got these people, and we always love these new people that like they engage. They want to have a listing, that they want. We're preparing an auction or that and appraisals. But there's always these other people from the years back. They may have came to an inspection. They may have came to an auction. They never bought, and we don't have time to follow up with all of them. It's just impossible, It's always like becomes like end of the day, it becomes an afterthought because you're always focusing on the fresh leads, right? That's what you do.
Yeah.
But he says, but I've been looking at this voice AI. I'm trying to crack it, mate. Like, I'm like, well, I might have something for you. It's not available yet, but it's it's coming. We do have inbound. We don't have outbound. Not through GHL anyway. Now I know that I actually there are vendors that do like Thinker AI from Mohan Gulati, for example, that have injuries. But yeah, very, very powerful. And then he goes, so question though, like, legislation wise, like the inbound voice AI, there are things around it. And we know, I mean, we'd be stupid to think that's not going to happen. Like it's coming, right? At some point, the government's going to crack down on this and they're going to regulate this and it's going to be more tricky, but we've got this window. And so he says, like as a qualified real estate agent, you have to, you have to be certified. You have to be, registered with the body in order to provide professional advice.
Yep.
Does that mean that if the voice AI is speaking to somebody and they starts to give some, answers that would fall under that bracket, does it mean that the voice AI need to be qualified, like licensed?
That's
like, interesting.
Yeah, it's a super interesting. I mean, we've gotten that question too. We use it in everything now, and insurance will bring that up. And we've had some people, because I don't know if you're familiar with SynthFlow.
I heard of it. I have never. It's been, yeah, I've heard of it many times. I just
Okay.
never looked at it.
Yeah, so we're using it for outbound, with them, and we've had some clients even tinker with it enough where it'll set the appointment and then it's taking the appointment for them. It calls the lead for the appointment time, and they're trying to get it to like close the policy and like crazy. I don't know the legal ramifications of that, but it's super interesting. It's obviously it's not perfect, it screws up, it does make mistakes, but it is super interesting where that'll be for, even a year from now as far as voice
Does
AI
that
goes.
mean that the first voice AI, when it books the appointment with the next person, then that you would probably make that next person the voice different? You pick a different voice.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could like that is a good point. Yeah. I mean,
And
you
was
definitely can set that up.
and so was that been working? So obviously you've got much more sort of numbers like the economics scale to do for more real estate agents. How's that been working for them?
Sure. So it's been good overall. We have not seen the show rates dip, which is amazing, as far as because again, we used
Like
to
in
use
terms of
setters.
comparison between a human to
Yep.
voice.
As
Yeah.
far as like a human setter setting the appointment, automations through texting and that kind of stuff, setting the appointment, and then voice. Show rates have all been consistent. Obviously, right around 40 to 50%, but that's just, unfortunately what show rates are nowadays.
Mm.
And then the only thing that we have seen, which is super interesting, you'd think it would decrease engagement, but it's actually increased engagement post onboarding. So when we are like sending, appointment reminders, we're always like, hey, give us a thumbs up just to confirm the appointment, that kind of stuff. And we've gotten like a 25 to 30% jump in people actually confirming, appointments and everything. So it's definitely made an impact. It's again, I don't think it's ever going to be able to 100% replace a human being, but it's a good alternative that you don't have to manage, on a day-to-day basis like you would manage a setter.
Hmm. I wonder what is the main attributor to that increase in the in the confirmations,
Yeah.
because obviously, yes, the obvious, it's a different medium, it's of AI, but I'm wondering whether like what could be maybe the other attributors. Maybe is that maybe
I,
is it speed? Is it faster at like getting to,
that would
I don't
be
know.
my guess, and that's compared to people booking their own appointment and doing it through text. So,
Right.
part of it is obviously they get to talk to somebody on the phone. They're going to be a little bit more, engaged to actually book the appointment. But part of it too is 100% like you said, speed to lead, where like we have the AI call right away, no matter the time of day, it calls right away because we figure that if they're clicking and if they're booking, we might as well give a phone call just as a shot to see if we can, engage them, book an appointment, and then any secondary third calls are going to be during business hours. But that could partly be it. Is definitely speed to lead, and I feel like it just makes the business feel like, wow, like they're really on top of it. Like this is a legit company because we've all put contact info into a website and we don't get a response for 2 days.
Hmm.
And when you actually engage and it's like, oh, the business like literally just contacted me. I think that in a consumer's eyes, because we're talking D2C, that looks a lot better. And people are like, wow, like they actually, you know, care about me as a customer.
Yeah. And the offers, the type of problems they help solve for the real estate agent. Let's just go with the example of agent seller agents
Sure.
is bookings for auctions, for house inspections, for things like that.
Yeah, so we a lot of our system is just focused on lead generation. So it's a lead inquires about a listing that will call them up. They'll book an appointment to do a showing or to do a virtual appointment with the client, or we'll run ads that are just like, hey, are you looking to list your home? Contact us and setting up appointments. So we do a lot of that, but we definitely have a lot of clients that take it a step further and, organize follow-ups, organize
Hmm.
post closing nurturing where it's like, hey, we closed a month ago, just checking in. and obviously they're getting reviews and referrals from that. So
Yeah.
some clients take it a step further, and then some just use it for the lead generation purposes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of always like thinking on like reverse engineering it, because
Yep.
like reputation and referrals is like, that's where the money's at. If you think about it, like in terms of cost of acquisition of new leads, like there's always going to be much more cost effective when you can turn your customers into evangelists that they refer and all that. So I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan.
I mean, just while we're on that really quick, like imagine if you're doing it for restaurants. Like when's the last time a restaurant checked in on you after you ate there? But if you had a restaurant that had an automation set up that, 24 hours after you eat there, or even an hour after you pay your bill or something like that, that it calls you and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, how was your meal? Just checking in, anything we can do for you. And then going way back to like, quote unquote local business marketing, give them something for free with that check-in. Now they're coming back in. And if you can get them in for 3 or 4 times, then it's like you have a lifetime customer. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with voice for sure.
Well, funny that you just brought up, local businesses, because I've just come across something really, really cool. My previous career is I was in hospitality. I wanted to always become a chef.
Okay.
So I've worked in restaurants, I've worked in the bars, did the whole type of that sort of different works in hospitality, from waitering, pouring beers, whatever.
Yep.
And I love that industry because it's like people to people industry. It's about high quality customer service. And but when running my own SaaS agency now, it's always
Yep.
been like how the tricky thing, because what you just said, like sending out a customer after they've been great, but that only works if you got their details. And how do you the thing that's tricky is to collect those details. So if you go and even if you just take coffee shop, for example, like if you got a coffee shop, you just buying a coffee,
Yeah. Yep.
you're not gonna go and start filling up a form, right? It's a bit tricky. So I've had, beginning of this year, Steve Rosenbaum, he reached out. I'm not sure if you know him. He runs a company called Flawless Follow Up. He's quite known in the community. And he's reached out, he sent me this loom. He's like, Vit, you gotta check this out. And it was basically showing me a Boomerang from Mike Inishev, the founder. And basically they've been able to come up with a platform that helps turn regular customers into regulars for coffee shops, restaurants, nail salons, massage therapy places, those type of places where like consumer based, whether it's food or service. This is genius, right?
Okay.
We're talking about punch cards, good old school punch cards. Like every 10th visit,
Really?
you get 10th massage for free, or every 5th coffee for free. The problem with that is a lot of coffee shops have those like paper ones, or they might have 2 locations, but then they got those cards only in that location. So the customer goes in the other location. Oh, where's my card? It's in the other shop. Or they might carry it with them, but then there's like, it's squished up, and like many reasons why old paper cards are like not really great, because, and more importantly, you don't get any data on digital. So he's figured out a way how to make it digital. But, when he was looking at it, it's like, and I've seen it too. Like I used to, before where I live in Canberra, but which is more regional. But I used to live in Sydney. I work in a Sydney CBD, very like the hustle and bustle of a big town, right?
Yeah.
So, you'd go to coffee shops, and I was around like 2014, 2015, when I was like, I was working as a personal trainer back then. So, I'd go to coffee shops between my sessions. And around that time, these companies started to pop up where they would bring in these digital touchscreen tablets to the coffee shop as part of their offering.
Yep. Yep.
And that was the whole, scan thing. And then they would be selling the loyalty programs, which is good. But it wasn't that great either, because it wasn't, on the consumer side, it wasn't something that they would engage with enough. It was maybe good for the coffee shop to collect the details, but for the consumer, like you didn't have any access to their phone in order to like push notifications properly. They may have downloaded an app, like another bloody app to download. Anyway, long story short, what this guy figured out is there's one place in your mobile phone these days, whether it's an iPhone or Android, that we all tend to use pretty well these days. We're accustomed to it, and that is a Google Pay or Apple Wallet.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
right? We keep our credit cards in there. When we buy a flight ticket, we put it in there because it keeps it nice and neat, and we get notification from the app.
Yeah.
And it's an
Yeah.
app you're never going to delete because it's
You
important
got
stuff.
everything in there. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's figured out how to generate these loyalty cards digitally on the
That's
back
cool.
of filling a form, and it goes. And so, yes, still a form, right? So it goes back
Sure.
to what it's like. That's kind of like who filled it up. Well, what you do is you say, Mr. Customer, like they come in for the first coffee, let's say. They're about to pay. Hey, look, you can pay us for that coffee, or you can fill this form and that coffee is for free. And if you know the numbers and the economics of how loyalty works,
Yeah.
you know the numbers, that's the cheapest lead you could ever get. That when you think of like, well, this I'm gonna be like say percent, I don't know the numbers exactly, but like pretty high numbers likelihood of this guy on the back of me giving him a free coffee, becoming a loyalty program member. I'm gonna turn him into regular. It's like 50% chance now, so it makes all the sense. It's just numbers, right?
Well, even on that too, it's like, okay, so what does that coffee cost you? $2?
Not
But
even.
if I ran Facebook ads, I'm probably paying $3, $4, $5 a form fill. So it's like you might as well give the coffee away for free. And it's a better customer experience. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's genius. So you scan a QR code, right? You got a form, fill it with your basic details, really, just phone, email, first name, last name. That's all you need, right? As a coffee shop. As soon as you hit submit, it gives you a thank you page with a button. Add this cards generated. Click and add to Apple what? It's that instant.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And so on the back end, you've got like a full dashboard and you can see all your customers, how many punch cards they got. But now the pitch is to all the coffee shop owners, hey, you know how Starbucks is like a global company and they do really well? Do you know why? It's not that the coffee is that better. It's just coffee is coffee, right? Maybe they add syrups, well, whatever.
Sure.
It's the marketing. They've been really good at keeping their customers become loyal and regular. And, throughout all these years, they had access to these really cool things. And they had the money and budgets. Well, let me tell you about this cool little thing. We can actually help you level up with them. And then you can talk about things like, well, how long mate, I get pretty passionate about this. When I was working in Sydney, again, that story, working in Sydney, I was working at a gym, and on a ground level, they had coffee shop, right? So they would lease out that spot to a coffee shop owner. And I was there, and in a period of 2 years, 3 coffee shop owners went up, went down, went up, went down, under, right? Tough gig. I spoke to one of them. He's like, mate, yeah, I had a pretty cushy job. I saved up money, and then I always want to have a coffee shop. They buy the coffee shop, and then I go there because I got to go in like 6 a.m. to train my clients, right?
Yep.
And he's there pouring coffee. He doesn't have barista. It's him, the business owner, doing the coffees. It's daily grind. I'm like, and then, and then after, and, you get always like the excitement at the beginning, 2 months, like excited. They just open their coffee shop. They spend all this money on a cool fit out. 3 months in, and he just feeling like you can see it. Like there's always this little flip. I started to notice this trend, after like the second or third owner came in, like excited, and then like this fucking zombie in the morning, and like, how's it going, man? Oh yeah, so and so. I'm like, so it really pains me to see it, So now what we could do is you could go there and make, look, well, let's fix this. Let's make you go there peak time. Like, how many of these people that are sitting there and having a breakfast right now are regulars? And they might say, those 3 tables there, they're regulars. The rest, no. A bit of transient traffic. Well, let me help you turn at least 50% of those into regulars. Let me tell you why, and it's super easy. It's 30-minute setup, done and dusted. Do that. Now, well, look, it's not you never were into like opening a coffee shop to get yourself a job, right? I mean, the idea is that it works for you and makes you money. Well, let me help you pursue that dream of having another coffee shop, another one, like having multi-locations. Now, this bloke, Mike, right, he figured out a franchise component to it.
Interesting.
So the loyalty card works across multi-locations.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So anyway,
beautiful. It's easier sell too. Yeah. No,
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about like a foot in the door service, if you want to target coffee shops, restaurants, get them on this, upsell them onto an automated review generation. From that, upsell them into this other thing that I've found that it's using AI, and it automatically optimizes your Google profile.
sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Upsell them on that, and that's like you got a
Yeah.
winning combo.
Absolutely.
So many ways to approach this, guys. Like, I mean, I'm pretty excited about this stuff. Trying to solve problems, trying to help the underdogs, and make money in the process. Everybody wins.
Absolutely.
It's great. I've got a couple of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I'm aware we're all busy running things, so I wanted to go over a couple of rapid fire questions related to high level. I know you're a nerd like me,
Yeah.
like to tinker with stuff. What about high level originally grabbed your attention? Was there something specific or a problem you were trying to solve?
It was a problem that we were trying to solve, and it was the two-way communication with automations. So the texting back and forth, email back and forth with automations based off of different stages.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Such a thing, simple but such an effective thing.
It's so simple. Back in the day, we were running Pipedrive with Zapier and Twilio in Zapier and just pinging everything back and forth.
Wow.
Nuts. So that was the big thing for us.
Yeah, the duct tape method. That's painful.
Yep.
What is it like? Any new high level feature or what new high level feature or like a digital marketing tool are you most excited about like using right now, and why?
Yeah. So for me, it's actually been funny enough. I've always been a funnel builder, but it's all of the new stuff that they're adding in to the like funnel building websites type stuff. We've had, just the basic blocks and everything like that, but they just added the mega mega menu. That's what it is. Yeah. So it's like now we can, I mean, I'm not a coder. I can put things together. I can design stuff, but I know a little bit about code, but I can't do all the CSS stuff and JavaScript and all that. So for me, it's like, oh, sweet. We can actually build out like full-fledged websites now. So that's been really cool. And then obviously the integrated voice AI has got to be top of my list for sure too.
Yeah, nice. And you use SynthFlow for that.
Yes. And yeah, that's what we currently use, SynthFlow. Yep.
Yeah. Nice. Is there any like I'm sure you're probably like on top of looking at the ideas, but looking at the roadmap, what high level
Sure.
go? Is there any like a thing that you're really excited to that's on the roadmap for it to be released?
Not really. Again, I think the outbound voice AI is, not to just jump on that bandwagon, but again, synth is great. There's issues with the integration, so once it's 100% integrated and native in high level, that'll be nice. Yeah.
Right. So they're not on the marketplace.
So they are on the marketplace. It's just not
Like a custom action in a
not
workflow.
perfect. Yeah, it does. It go into it is a custom action in a workflow. It's just not perfect, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
The integration.
I mean, yeah. It's just software, right? Software always has its some kinks. If you could like knowing what you know about high level and you've been an active user and I get guests, I get other agency OGs and vendors and like some super cool people, but not everybody is like fully entrenched into like day-to-day using it. So the fact that you are, it's really cool. I can ask you this question.
Absolutely.
If you could give one piece of advice to a new high level user to make their life easier when adopting and using high level, what would that be?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like, easy, low hanging fruit is definitely like learn how to use custom values and live by them. Like that's just, like, I feel like, something that impacts everything that you can do inside of high level everywhere. But then one thing, this kind of speaks more towards me, maybe being like, an old head and just stubborn, is I was so stuck on campaigns and triggers for the longest time. But if you jump into high level and you like really just, obviously cool, you can build out a dashboard, you can build out all that fun stuff. That's fine. But like get super entrenched with the automations and the workflows. and it's going to make your job in high level so much easier. So
That's
yeah,
where the
I
magic
would say
happens.
absolutely. It really
I,
is.
I always look at the automations. I've been building stuff. I like to think that I built pretty cool stuff, but I always look at some of the actions because the list is long.
Yep.
I'm like, there are still actions that I've not used, and so it's like I always like to think, like, what am I not like? What's the ultimate possibility here? This
What am
is
I
like
missing?
that's what gets me excited, right?
Absolutely. I swear I look in there every day and there's something new in there and I'm like, oh, they added that. So yeah, cool stuff. A
Yeah,
lot of cool stuff.
yeah, that's awesome. Now we love high level. High level is awesome, but it's a giant software, and as with any software, softwares do have the kinks, like the little issues that getting resolved. High level has over 700 developers now working on things. There is a place called Ideas Board where people submit feature suggestions or let the developers know about any like experience issues from a UI or UX perspective. Now, what I wanted to do as a way to help promote any of these ideas on the ideas board is to leverage from this podcast, give people a chance. So we have this segment called the beef.
Okay.
So on the beef, we discuss constructive feedback on something that you've submitted on the ideas board, or there's a suggestion that you've seen and needs more upvotes. Do you have any of such that you'd like to share? Any
Sure.
frustration or a challenge that you face at high level?
I don't think from a system aspect, I feel like things come and go that I'll get super worked up because I'm like, what the heck? Like why isn't this working? And I definitely have my own beef with support on things where I'll get on a Zoom and it's like, hey, we can't do this. And I mean, I'm sure you kind of get that a lot where it's when you break high level because you know what you're doing. When you break it, it's like, okay, we got to do a ticket because we're just too far down the road. Like I know what I'm doing. So like, maybe a little bit of beef there, but I think the biggest thing that I've wanted for the longest time, and if it's out there, I missed the mark on that. But there you can obviously hook up a Gmail and you can, do the two-way syncing. But the issue is the inbound emails only sync in if the contact's already in high level. I want to be able to connect the Gmail and just work out of high level. And if an inbound email comes from that email, like I just use high level as my inbox basically. So right now, if a contact's in high level and they send an email, then it pops up in high level. But if I send an email to the Gmail and I'm not in their high level, it won't sync into high level. So that's
Mm,
been one thing that I've wanted for the longest time because then that gets rid of Freshdesk because then our team can just use high level for ticketing.
yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, that's a valid point. The counter argument I could think of would be, I guess, is the opt-in, right? Like if somebody's
Sure.
emailing you, but they're not opting in for your marketing. But now if this thing, if it did the way that you wanted to, it'd be like, now, well, now they're in the list. So if you do any newsletters, now they're gonna hit them up, which could put your domain reputation at risk because they weren't opted in, and they're gonna whatever, right? So I mean, it's a tough
Sure.
one. I know
Yeah.
HubSpot has. I used to use HubSpot, and they've got that capability. I think a little bit more dialed in on that front. But
I mean,
yeah,
I guess the second part to that would be like an integrated help center. I've always thought like if they tagged on something like it's a Zendesk or a a Freshdesk, like that kind of a tool inside a high level, literally, then now it's this 360 system that
ticketing system.
yeah, ticketing
Mm-hmm.
ticketing would be the biggest. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So guys, if you and what you just mentioned, did you submit this on the ideas board? Have you got a link for this?
I've submitted, I've spent my fair share on that. It's been years, kind of
Okay.
unfortunately gave up on it because we ended up using Freshdesk. But yeah,
Okay.
and maybe I was too early, right? Like maybe it was just something that I was like, hey, it'd be great if they could do that, 4 years ago. But yeah, so
That's cool.
not recently.
Yeah. So guys, if you do have any idea that you've submitted on the ideas board and you'd like to get more upvotes, You can submit them to me and I'll feature them in the next episode. You just head over to highlevelexperience.com/debrief. You make a short video of you explaining what the suggestion is, and then provide a link for the thing from the ideas board so that we can feature in the show notes and people can upvote on it. So that's that. Now, Jake, we also have a segment called 3 Under 3, which is basically sharing and inspiring a story about a business owner that you've worked with, not an agency owner, but more of a the underlying like a traditional business owner, maybe one of the real estate agents.
Sure. Yeah, I got one.
What you've been able to do for them and what impact it had on their business and then their lifestyle.
Absolutely. Yeah. So do you want 3 or do you just want 1?
Sorry, I just want 1 from you. The other 2 are open spots for you guys listening.
Beautiful. Yeah. So the biggest one, I will remember this till the day I die. There's a lady that came in and wanted to sign up with us, and she was literally like, if this doesn't work out, my kid can't go to daycare. Like that's, the money that is for daycare next month, she was paying to us. And she came on board and within 30 days closed 2 homes. And, if anybody knows commissions in real estate, she probably made anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000, within that month. Kids daycare riding on the line. That was one of the coolest experiences, obviously from us, that we're able to help her. But the fact that she is so dedicated with her business, took the risk and made it work, that was definitely one of the coolest experiences that we've had with one of the businesses we've worked with. Yeah.
Sure. I love it, because you might hear some case studies about how much money they've been able to generate, but it's just, it's just fluff, it's just money. But it's stuff like this is very inspiring. Yeah. I've got one to share as well. I still work with a local dance academy. So they do dance classes. They also have a ballet academy, and a husband and wife business, right? Her husband, since he was the young kid, was always into, ballet, and he's been at the, I don't understand that industry that much, but all the prestigious things that he's done. But they had a bit of a downturn and he had to get himself a job. Had to start working, I think, car sales, something that he hates doing, right? So we started working together, and it was just the wife running the business. It's been about a year now. The husband's back in the business, no longer working full-time elsewhere. Now both getting, paying themselves a proper salary. Their business is growing. They've just launched, what's the Wiggles, the Wiggles, the Australian, the Wiggles, the dance show for the kids.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They've just scored, locked in a license for the whole state here. Exclusivity. Okay. So now they use the branding of Wiggles for their dance classes, which is, amazing. And they're on to opening up a second location.
That's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. She told me that. I'm like, wow, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get it on video. So, yeah. No. So why are we sharing this, guys? This is what, if you're in it for just money, forget it. You really want to be doing this for something that is truly moving and inspiring, because the money will come, right? The money will come. So I love this. And if you guys have such story, there's many of you maybe listening as well that are doing well with HighLevel, your agency, and have, made a lot of impact on people. If you'd like to inspire other high-levelers here listening, I do have a way for you to submit your story. So simply head over to HighLevelExperience.com / let me find that. HighLevelExperience.com / your story. And similarly to the beef segment, you'll be able to submit a video. Just trying to keep it short. We like to keep it 3 under 3, 3 stories, each under a minute. Just, your name, agency, what you've done for who, the impact, shout out for your agency, and then we'll just feature it in one of the episodes.
Love it.
Jake, man, we are at the end. It's been a pleasure having you on. Really appreciate you sharing, your journey, sharing, the insights of how you run your business. Really appreciate that. And now on the like last piece of parting advice, is there anything you'd like to share with the guys listening right now?
Yeah. If you want to do something, if you have goals, as long as you stick to that path and just dedicate, your time, and don't get, sidetracked with like, oh, I'm going to start a marketing agency and now I'm going to do trading. Like, as long as you stick to one goal and you work towards it, you will eventually get there, because I'm not supposed to be in the position I'm in. But, again, it's been 10 years and I stuck to the path and just made it work. So again, if you have goals, just put your head down and work and you'll get there.
I love it. I love it. And on that note, let's wrap it up. Jake,
Beautiful.
thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Fit. It was great.
Guys, thank you for listening as well. Thank you for listening to today's episode on the High Level Experience. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your other fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS with High Level, please go to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.